The discussion continues on how to fix the water levels at Beaver Lake. More on that, plus the effort to save Otwell Elementary School is reorganizing a little bit, and Scott Evelair previews this weekend's St. Anthony Fireman's Fest tonight on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin with the continuing discussions on a solution for the water level at Beaver Lake. This morning, the Jasper Water Committee met in the Pfaffenweiler Room at Jasper City Hall to talk more about Tuesday night's contentious Jasper Park Board meeting and what the future holds for work at Beaver Lake. Utility Service Board Chairman Rick Stratner read a prepared statement in which he said there is no proof of a cover-up on the part of the city when it comes to water levels at the lake, and he takes offense to the allegations made by the Friends of Beaver Lake group Tuesday night. Stratner went on to say that the city is contacting Brosmer Land Surveying, Christopher B. Burke & Associates, and Morley & Associates for formal responses to the allegations. City officials are hoping to have that response prior to Monday night's utility board meeting. Stratner also explained the recent decision not to fund spillway work at Beaver Lake from the city's point. He says the decision was related to ratepayers and mandated projects.
Our reason for voting against funding this is primarily on our ratepayers within the city of Jasper. We have roughly 8,800 ratepayers. We just had a 17% rate increase. We are facing a couple of $1 million project on Newton Street in the future, and on the heels of the UV project, the 3rd Avenue project, and the mandate of this spillway, and we felt it was not a prudent use of funds.
Now, the city has upped its offer of financial support for the project to $35,000. The figure was originally $20,000, but the Jasper Park Board is kicking in $15,000 of additional support. The decision to up the offer was made Monday evening, according to city officials, but it was not mentioned Tuesday night. The other key moment of the meeting this morning came from City Councilman Kevin Manley. Manley voiced his support for fixing the problems with Beaver Lake's water levels. He also stated his own willingness to use other city funds outside of general fund tax dollars to support a spillway rebuild. John McGovern with the Friends of Beaver Lake group was on hand this morning. He says Manley's support is a positive change.
I think there's a lot of hope. I like Councilman Manley's remarks that there be other things considered. I know they've got a lot of constraints in their budgets. They had to cut $900,000. But he did mention there's these other funds they would consider. I didn't get that from the mayor as far as considering that. The mayor talked about all the property caps, which you already know.
Now, the Friends of Beaver Lake group will be holding a fundraising meeting this Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. It will be held on Lot 131B, which is the Bernie Jeffries lot. The group is hoping to raise more money for their effort, and they've raised around $140,000 to date. The push to save Otwell Elementary is now working to reorganize. The group held a meeting last night at the Otwell Community Center, and the chief concern among those on hand for the Friends of Otwell group was a lack of organization through their first few meetings. Of course, this group is working to turn Otwell Elementary into a charter school starting with the 2016-2017 school year in order to keep the school open after the Pike County School Board voted to close the school at the end of the current school year. The group opted to have its subcommittees meet prior to the next meeting on September 8th in order to help the organizational aspect of things. On a related note, a former school teacher stepped forward to take charge of the group for the time being. Bob Rhodes spent 11 years as a teacher at Washington Catholic High School. Rhodes, who also served in the Air Force, says the time was right for him to step forward.
My mother's a school teacher, and she always used to tease me about taking over and being bossy when we were out in the playground and those kinds of things. It stuck with me. I'm a retired Air Force colonel, and I know what my strengths are, and organization is something I do.
Rhodes says the next step is to find major tasks to be accomplished and put the right people in place to do those tasks. Rhodes also addressed finding other income streams to help Otwell Elementary to succeed should it become a charter school. He says to do this, a business-type approach will be required.
Well, education is a big business, and we have to approach it as a business. The school corporation and the county here have a huge problem on their hands, and we have to help solve the combined problem of the county, not just our community, and that's the approach we're going to take.
Now, some of the key things that were brought up last night included figuring out how much money the group needs to raise, finding out if the Otwell Elementary building will be made available by the school corporation for use as a charter school, and getting a 501c3 designation for any charter school. Jasper Engines announced a new promotion to one of its leadership roles earlier today. Luke Bobble will be the new Vice President of Jasper's Supply Chain and Logistics Group, and that group includes the company's distribution channels, JET Transit, and Jasper Innovative Solutions. Over a 7-year career at Jasper, Bobble has served in a variety of capacities, including manufacturing, quality, inside and outside sales, and customer service. He most recently was the division manager of JIS. Bobble will continue to be based at the company's facility in Crawford County. He'll partner with Jasper's executive team to develop common goals in support of the company's Unified Management Plan initiatives, among other ideas. And finally tonight, year 2 of the 555 fitness runs in Huntingburg is set to wrap up tomorrow, and it's been another very successful year. The last of the 555 events for this year will be tomorrow starting at 5 o'clock. Those participating should meet in front of Huntingburg City Hall. Now, Mayor Denny Spender says nearly 100 people have participated in each of the first 4 runs. He says as many as 97 t-shirts could be awarded to people who participate in all 5 of the 555 events this year, provided that every one of those people participates in the last event tomorrow. Spender says he's pleased with the progress that has been made in just 2 years of having the 555 runs.
It's become a great fitness event, but it's also become a good social event. You see groups of people gathering here on Friday night and being together and walking or running together. And it's just been a tremendous boost to the health concerns here in the city, but also just a great time for our community to gather and have another one of those events.
Now, Spender says next year could bring some minor changes in response to the high popularity of 555. However, he says the scheduled number of events is not likely to change, at least for next year.
5 seems to be working very well, but we're looking at options again for next year. We want to sit down with all our sponsors after this year and review it and look at what would be the best approach. But there could be some small changes, but so far it's been working very well.
Again, the last 555 run of the year is set for tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Participants should meet in front of Huntingburg City Hall. All right, coming up after the break, your local forecast, and Scott Ebelair joins Bill Potter for Inform. We're back after this.